Herzlich willkommen bei Bittel TV Einfach Anders. Ich freue mich sehr, jetzt mit Mary sprechen zu dürfen und wir machen das auf Englisch. Ihr wisst, mein Englisch ist so ein bisschen speziell, aber ich hoffe, es wird gehen. Aber Mary wird mir sonst auch helfen. Yeah, thank you very much, Mary, for your time being here in Switzerland. It's the first time now, probably.
No, but I'm delighted to be here. Beautiful country and such an important country in the world.
The most of the people know you, for sure. My English is not so good, unfortunately, but I hope it's fine. Can you please introduce yourself for the community?
Yeah. So I'm Mary Holland, President of Children's Health Defense. My organization has existed since 2016. It was founded by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And we are dedicated to defending children's health, to exposing toxic harms that are happening to children, to seeking to redress those harms to children, and to putting in place safeguards so that the harms that have happened don't happen again. About half of American children have some kind of chronic health condition. Allergies, eczema, autism, ADHD, diabetes, those are all really common. And it doesn't have to be that way. We didn't have a chronic disease epidemic in the 1960s and 70s. And we do think a big driver of that is childhood vaccination. They contain toxic metals, they contain aluminum, they contain other substances. They're given at a time of peak brain development in babies. We don't think that the science, we are sure the science does not support the childhood vaccination schedule. But we do other issues, we look at other issues as well: food, air, water, pesticides, medications. We are interested in all the things that are harming children's health, and also what is good for children's health. Love, home, good food, clean air, clean water, as few medications as possible.
Thank you very much. You mentioned also the vaccination. Robert Kennedy also mentioned that there is no security about these vaccines for children. What's going on now? Because this is heavy stuff going on.
Well, he has talked about this. He's in a different position now. He's not connected to us now. He's in the government.
Yes.
But there really was never adequate science done for the childhood vaccination schedule. They never used true placebos. They didn't do good clinical trials for decent periods of time. And there's no real surveillance once a vaccine goes on the market. And the two things that make the situation as bad as it is there's compulsion. It's not based on individual choice. And doctors and the pharmaceutical industry do not pay if there's an injury. They are not accountable. They are not liable. Those two things have driven the lucrative nature, the money-making ability of vaccination to explode, and we have harm as a result.
You were told also that in the 90s or 70s the disease haven't been there?
It was very different. So if you go back to the 1970s in the United States, it's under 10% of children having chronic disease disabilities, learning differences. Now it's half of all children. 77% of American young people could not qualify for the military if they wanted to. 77%. That shows you that this is a crisis. We are not raising healthy children psychologically, physically. This is a national crisis. This is a national security concern. Our country will fail. We will go bankrupt with the cost of healthcare in the United States if we don't fix these things. And so Kennedy has been talking as the secretary about this crisis. We have to confront reality. We are sick. We need to take action. We need to understand what's happening.
What's going on in America with the American people? Is the awareness there? Do we have to change something concerning the vaccine, or it's coming step by step? What do you think about this?
Well, Kennedy has made major changes as the secretary. He has changed, the day of birth vaccine was stopped so that there's no recommendation for that. He took about a third of the vaccines away from being routine recommendations to being only if needed. And so it's between a doctor and the parents. He decided to take mercury out of all vaccines in the United States. All of those things, he also is trying to get much better research. He's trying to get better access to data about what they know about the schedule they've had. He's also suggested that children no longer get COVID shots. Unfortunately, what he has done so far has been stalled in the courts. The courts have said, no, you can't do that, you're outside of the law. And so he is appealing that. Children's Health Defense has also joined in to that case, which was brought against him. We say, well, we are representing the children, you are representing doctors, they are representing the government, we want to be a part of this. So we're waiting to find out what happens.
It's a very difficult situation at the moment. You are not so often in contact with Kennedy because he is not the time, he's so busy.
Right.
Nevertheless, you have contact.
Right.
I guess it's quite frustrating for him to see that he cannot through what he really wants to. What do you think, if you have an opinion about this, what he's thinking now, what he can do? Because nevertheless, he's just one part of the puzzle.
Well, I think he did bring some other good people with him. Dr. Bhattacharya at National Institute of Health, Dr. Oz at the Medicaid and Medicare. He's not absolutely alone, and I think he understood, as somebody who is close to the government because of his father and his uncle, he didn't have illusions that he would be able to change everything overnight. But I think it's a difficult job. I think we have to be realistic about how much can change and how quickly it can change. It's difficult. But what I see is that public opinion, because he has drawn attention to these issues, public opinion has shifted dramatically in the United States. So 46% of people, according to the latest poll by not a very friendly polling agency, said that 46% of people do not support they do not support vaccine mandates. Okay. And they think that the science that we are told about is questionable. That's extraordinary. 46% would not have happened 10 years ago. COVID woke people up. I think Kennedy has had a bully platform. We say a bully pulpit. He's been able to reach people. And I think people's opinions have become more informed.
You mentioned COVID. For me, it's a big crime for myself.
Me too.
How you would make a summary of COVID if you have done it, I don't know, in 1-2 minutes, in your point of view?
Yeah, I think COVID was an effort by global governments and global healthcare facilities to create the beginning of a one world government. We saw the policies the same everywhere, and they were very repressive. They overcame the most basic right. Our most basic right is to control our own bodies. And with the masks and the shots and the tests, they really assaulted the right to bodily autonomy. So it was a crime. I believe it was a crime against humanity. And I don't believe that we have had a reckoning. We have not had an accountability for COVID yet. And we at Children's Health Defense are working for that. We need to find out who made all those decisions. Why did they make those decisions? There was not the level of severity of COVID that they said. The shots didn't stop infection or transmission. They caused massive injuries and deaths, and they are causing generational change. We know that the spike protein crosses the placenta to the next generation. So we need to get to the bottom of what happened. We need to say we won't do it again. But we also really do need to understand so that it doesn't happen again.
That's really crazy. I cannot understand how many people believe in governments and the vaccine. It's really incredible. But we have keep going.
Yeah.
We talked also yesterday that the movement in general have to cooperate and coordinate much better.
Yes, I agree with that.
We should do it internationally, and this is also good that we are now in contact to try our best to do this as soon as possible for the data, for the timeline, for the coordination in general, because there are so many files we cannot do by ourselves. We have to work together. And I don't know how it is in USA, but in Europe there's still quite a lot of egos. And this is a pity. We have to find the smallest together, to find a way to work together. Otherwise, the other part is too strong.
Yeah. I agree with you. We do need to be more unified. I also do believe there's power in decentralization. So the fact that people in Switzerland and Germany and France and Belgium and Italy and the US all are thinking the same things and doing similar things, I don't necessarily see as a disadvantage. But I do think that these connections, like what we're doing today, I've known Maria for many years. I've worked with people in France and Italy for many years. I think that's critical. So we know who we can trust, we know who we can work with, we can try to advance one another's work,
yes.
We can facilitate people meeting one another and working together. It's essential. We are dealing with the beginnings of a global government that came into visibility through COVID.
They want the new world order.
Yes,
but,
they do.
I guess we should do the same, but in a good way.
Correct, correct. Yes, I agree completely.
And then decentralized, it's not necessary to have a big government.
Right.
The digital way could be also something positive.
It could be. It could be.
And everything is two sides.
Everything is two sides. The technology can be used for great good.
Yes.
A new emphasis on health could be a great good. There's many positive things, but we do have to. We have to be awake, right? We have to be thinking, because if we just go get a digital currency or a digital passport, or we go get 5 versions of the shot, it can cause tremendous harm.
That's the problem. AI could be even also positive.
AI can be very positive,
but the problem
and it can be terrible. No, everything is, that's the human condition, right? Good and evil are in one package, you know, good and bad are in one package.
My personal solution would be the whole world say no and say we were going to not working anymore tomorrow. In Germany you can even not mention this, then you have a problem with the law.
You know, we were just in France and in Brussels, and even, well, in France and in Belgium, we were specifically told at conferences about autism, you can't really talk about vaccines. You know, that's crazy, right? The censorship is still so serious. As my colleague Brian said, when we were in Italy, the members of the parliament, they just said, oh, we won't listen to you because you're anti-vax and anti-science. And they stormed out of the room. So yes, there's still a great deal of inability to have a real conversation. And it's hard. I don't mean to, it's hard when you fundamentally disagree with people. It's actually really hard to have good communication. But that is our job. Our job is to be in communication and try to understand where they are coming from and let them understand where we're coming from, and then find the truth.
I think it's a part of the solution just to discuss. During Corona it was not possible. There was no critical voices at all.
Right.
And if you have a critical voice, then you have a problem with the government or whatever. And I hope that will change soon, because otherwise we have a big problem.
I think it is changing. So I've heard that there's a candidate in Austria who has been very good on Corona. There are people who seem to be coming up in the system who are critical. But yes, we must be honest. And unfortunately, during COVID, the world media and governments were dishonest.
Yes.
And people need to understand that. If somebody lies to you repeatedly, it's very dangerous to trust them.
Yes.
Full stop.
And especially media.
Yeah.
They have lost the trust of the whole world, you can say. And we need a new media.
We need new media.
And a lot of media, but small ones, not the big ones, and decentralized, and then it could work.
I agree, and I think that that is something that did happen during COVID. Even though there was tremendous censorship on social media, on the internet, still there were independent voices. There are small niches worldwide, and new media did come up. You know, the old media in the United States is almost dead. It's almost dead. It still plays a role, but it's not the same.
I think follow the money. That's the biggest problem. If we can change the value of ourselves, that the money is not the most important thing.
No.
There are so many other things more important. And if we are concentrated on that, maybe we can change
Yeah.
and to spread the good energy all over the world.
Yeah.
And we just want to discuss. We are not saying our truth is the right one,
Right.
but at least let us discuss with each other.
Exactly.
And then we will see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yes.
If we have open, honest conversation, as Kennedy says, radical transparency, if we really discuss things, we might agree, but
Yes.
we don't all have the same set of facts right now. We don't have the same set of information.
Yes.
And so...
That is important. But the most of the people, there has no time. I think it's also a part of the plan to put in a box, to have 2 children, no time, I have to go, and kindergarten, whatever, and then you have no time to investigate.
Yeah.
And then you have, what are you doing? You just watch TV and you believe what's coming on TV, and then you say, okay, I'm sure that's true. And this is the problem, and we have to change it. Let's change the topic for maybe at the end, because you know Reiner Fuellmich?
Yes.
I have investigated quite a lot. I gave you today also an update.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's really, really good information. I guess it's very important
Yes.
to make it public.
Yes.
And I guess we both agree that it's a political prisoner.
Yes.
And what is your statement about this?
Well, I've known Reiner Fuellmich for many years. I think he was a very important outspoken voice in Europe against the corona measures. I think he did some very good work in the investigative committee. And I do think that his arrest and imprisonment are because of his outspokenness during corona. I don't know about everything else, but it seems obvious to me that he has been prosecuted and treated as a political prisoner, which is shocking in Germany and terrifying. And I think people should understand that this is very bad for the society if somebody who speaks out is treated like a criminal, which is what has happened. And so, yes, you've brought to my attention some information that I hope will become public soon that will help people better understand that there's really little question that he has been treated as a political prisoner.
You mentioned also that you're gonna try make some relation with even Tucker Carlson, whatever. If it's possible, you have to think about. This would be great because we need more pressure international.
Right.
I have done my best in German part, but now we have to go to America with other people.
Well,
because
yeah. I mean,
as soon it's out and
yeah.
we can talk about it, the facts are there.
Yeah.
I can prove what's going on. Then maybe you have a good chance.
Well, I think Reiner Fuellmich was always an international figure. He speaks perfect English. He went to an American law school. He came and gave lectures in the United States. He was arrested in Mexico. His case is inherently an international case. And so I think as more information becomes available about what really happened, it is only appropriate that it gathers, that it gets international attention.
Very nice. I can just say thank you very much for everything what you're doing, and it's a big pleasure to get you know even personally. And I heard a lot, I've seen a lot, but the first time see you personally. Maybe the last word for my community also give hope, because a lot of people are frustrated.
Yeah.
It's not going too fast enough, and so on.
So much has, yes, it's been a terrible few years in some ways, but it's also been, the silver lining of COVID is that hundreds of millions of people woke up to lies that are so dangerous. And I don't think you can't put the genie back in the bottle. The sentiment that we decide about our own health, you don't tell us to take a vaccine, you don't tell us we have to take a test every week. I think that consciousness is only growing. It is not lowering. And so I am optimistic. I am very optimistic. We have, as a movement, global movement, we have expanded exponentially since the beginning of COVID. And now there are people going into governments around the world who have this consciousness. So it's going to continue to grow. I can't tell you the pace of the growth. I wish it were faster, but I've been in this movement for 25 years. I have a severely injured 28-year-old son. So I've been in this world a long time. I can tell you that if you take the long view, we are winning. If you take the long view, we are gaining momentum all the time. We are not going back ever. And that gives me hope.
Thank you very much. Ja, liebe Menschen, das war das Interview mit Mary Holland. Ich bin einfach nur glücklich, so Menschen kennenlernen zu dürfen und mit ihnen zu sprechen. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen und ihr wisst jetzt, was jetzt kommt. Glaubt mir nichts, was ich sage. Recherchiert selber und verbindet die Punkte. Bis bald. Tschüss zusammen. Bye bye.